This is the Atari 2600. Came out in 1977, had a lot of games made for it, lost popularity around 1983-ish, but wasn't formally discontinued until 1992. This console has a huge history behind it, but I'm not really going to talk about that. What I am going to talk about is the console itself, the controllers, the games, basically anything that has nothing to do with the history. So let's begin. First, let's talk about the exterior of the console itself, with that wood finish. It's fake wood. As you can tell, there's a little Atari logo etched right there. Atari made this, obviously. It's in the name. Atari 2600. Actually, it was the video computer system, also known as the VCS, when it was first released. But they would later rename it to the 2600 to avoid confusion with the 5200, which was a huge failure, for reasons I'm not going to get into. But let's look at these little dials and switches and such. So, you got the obvious power on or power off. Looks like that. Same for all these other three switches. I take that back. Just for this one other switch, these two switches are completely different. I'll show you in a second. But this is for the TV type. Color, black and white. Some games use this as a switch for specific options in the game, instead of just turning the screen black and white. And in other games, it did nothing at all, because there's no need for a colorblind mode, basically. Except that's not the point. People had black and white TVs back then, but still. Then you have the game select and game reset switches, as evidenced by this downward pointing arrow. It only goes one direction and it does not stay there. You have to hold it down. My lever's a little rusty, if you know what I mean. Left controller, that's where the controller would go for the left controller or the first player. Same on the right side, right controller, right player. It's not plugged in at the moment. And right next to the right and left controller is difficulties, A and B. B would mean beginner, A would mean advanced. So right would be easy, left would be hard. And you can change it so it can be like any combination you want. That right there is the power, which ends in a mono headphone jack, but don't plug this into your stereo, you're probably going to blow it up. Because why would you do that? It's just a weird... It's just a normal jack. It doesn't transmit audio. Right over here is the channels 2 to 3. You have it on the left side, channel 2, right side, channel 3. You're going to need that because this console is so old it doesn't even have a yellow video jack. Instead, it transfers all the audio and video, mono audio and video, onto one cord that is plugged all the way into the back of a specific slot on your TV. Actually, it wasn't that simple back then, but I'll explain that in a bit. So that's the console itself. Now let's talk about the controllers and the games. This is one of the two joysticks that would come with every single Atari console from that time period. As you can tell, it's very basic. An 8 digital direction joystick complete with one button on the left side of the joystick. Obviously, not really good for lefties, because I'm a lefty. I like to grip the joystick with my left hand, so you're going to have difficulty with that. Of course, you can hold it weirdly, like I do, like this. But why would you? That's weird. Anyways, the point is, this is a very basic joystick, and it's not really that comfortable. But I will say it's better than the 7800 joystick. I can say that with a fact, because I have a 7800. I'm not going to show that today, of course. But yeah, so obviously it would come with two of them, as you can see. But the joystick was not the only way to play your games. There were other methods of playing games, such as the paddle, which comes in pairs. That's right, 2 paddles connected to one joystick port. Don't ask me what happened to this. It's a long story. But basically, one player will grab one paddle each, and you move it to the left, it stops, you've gone all the way to the left. You move it to the right, it stops, you've gone all the way to the right. And there's a button, one button, just like the joystick. This can be used for racing games, Breakout, Pong, or video tennis as they call it, the works. And honestly, these do not age that well, because there's this rare analog control that's just not used anymore, you know what I mean? It's just not... Like I actually... Okay, you know what? I will get into the story. I had to open these up in order to clean the little gunk in there so they can smoothly rotate. And even then, a few minutes after I did it, they still had issues. So, arguably, it wasn't the best time used. But the point is that they're very finicky nowadays. But weirdly enough, something that I got that is also isn't finicky, yet doesn't happen to be, and is also an Atari controller, is the driving control. You can tell it says driving with a race car. This was only used with one official game, the Indy 500, and it's not a pair like the paddles are. It's just one controller to one joystick port. Same idea, but instead of stopping, you can go full 360 all the way, either direction. And like I said, it was only used in one game. This one, unlike the paddles, this one works fine. I actually played a bit of it with my brother. Mind you, we have no idea how to play these games. We are PlayStation generation. Well, actually, he's PlayStation generation. I'm Xbox generation. However, Atari was not done with controllers for their games. They figured they needed one more for their game called Star Raiders, and also for other stuff like basic programming and such. What better way to introduce a new controller to the line of Atari controllers other than a keyboard controller? And they actually made multiple models. They made a Star Raiders one, which has no numbered buttons. It was like flat buttons. Apparently it was faulty or something, but this is faulty too, because these buttons aren't exactly that great to press. In fact, I have a feeling that this might be broken. But yeah, as you can tell, it's very basic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, asterisk, 0, hashtag, the works. And like I said, they made multiple versions of this, like the Star Raiders one with no buttons. There was also a big button version meant for small kid games, like, games for small kids, like Sesame Street and the works. But yeah, so those were the controllers. Now let me show you what the games came on, of course. The games came on cartridges. Tiny, bulky cartridges like this one. Let's see what this game is. I'm sorry, that scared the shit out of me. Here's an example of a cartridge that won't make me piss myself. It's the Harmony Flash cartridge. Yes, there's a flash cartridge for the Atari 2600. Multiple of them, in fact. This is the most basic one. It runs every game I want it to run, all off a single SD card. It's magic. I'll show you how it works in a second, but at the moment, I want to do a size comparison. As you can tell, these are tiny, yet bulky. This one's a little broken because I dropped it on the ground. But yeah, so Atari 2600, NES, right there, NES. As you can tell, it's thinner, but it's bigger. And that's not much in this cartridge, quite frankly. They just made it big because, well, the video game crash had just occurred and they couldn't sell a proper gaming console. SNES, or Famicom, because it's more Famicom shaped, but there you go. As you can tell, they're about the same level of thickness, but this one's wider. They're about the same height too, actually. And just one more for good measure, Genesis. Genesis is thinner, but it's wider, yet again. And I only did this just for size comparison. So, let's recap what I've talked about. I've talked about the console's look, I've talked about the look of the cartridges. Now it's time we take a flash card, like this one, like I just showed you, and just put it in the console like that. And now we'll turn it on. Oh wait, I shouldn't turn it on yet. I gotta plug it into my TV right here. My totally period accurate TV. It's not period accurate. It's got a DVD player, for frick's sake. But despite being 9 inches, it has served me well. I like it. So this is how you plug in the video. Basically, you want to get yourself one of those adapters right there. Plug the video into it, and then plug the adapter into the coax cable on your TV. That way you don't have to deal with any boxes. An example of that will be shown on the screen now. So now you want to set it to whatever channel you want. Just turn it on. Turn on the TV. And now put the channel number in. 03. And there we go. Now it's time to play some games.